I thought this was a really interesting article. This is an article over at purexbox.com. This has been making the rounds on how Phil Spencer sees the future of gaming. This is an interview that he did with Famitsu, a Japanese publication, and it dropped. It's been dropping news all day today, and I thought, let's go over it. Let's talk about it, and let's talk about what Phil Spencer means here. Some of it's a little bit gray. I'm not sure quite what he means, but he is setting up a completely different picture of gaming in the future than where we're at right now. A gaming scenario where he says essentially here that they need to start thinking about PlayStation users and Nintendo users as Xbox users, which is mind-blowing. It's the equivalent of a gaming revolution right here. If this is the case, I mean, this completely flips on the head everything that we've known about gaming so far. And I think we are in that period, and we're in that transitionary period. So let's talk about it. Let's go over this, and then let's discuss some questions that I have. Number one, is this realistic? In the way that I'm thinking about it, is it realistic? And I'm thinking, does this mean he wants Game Pass on these devices? That's not going to happen necessarily. What does he mean here? So let's talk about that. We'll speculate a little bit. Let's talk about what community means here. What does community mean in the context of this, what he's talking about? And how does this, if it comes to fruition in the future, how does it impact the future of game development and exclusivity? Now, I think there's a lot of talk here. There's a lot of sweet talk in respect that it is to a Japanese magazine or a Japanese publication, rather. And so I think there may be some strategic speak here in that you're not going to throw Nintendo under the bus. You're not going to throw PlayStation under the bus because they dominate in Japan, and it's particularly Nintendo. And so saying we need to start thinking of these users as Xbox users is really just playing the game. So is he just playing the game? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, a little bit of that, I'm sure, but I really don't think so. So here's what happened. He was asked about Xbox's future, not just on game consoles. So keep in mind, this is specific to not just on game consoles. Here's what he said. First of all, I'm very excited about what the future holds in terms of hardware. I think it's not just a matter of adapting to what other companies are doing, but also providing something unique for Xbox users. Just as we think of ROG Ally and Steam Deck as part of the Xbox community, we need to think of the many Nintendo Switch and PlayStation users as part of the Xbox community in the future. Let me repeat that sentence because that's the part that is making my eyeballs come out of my head here. We need to think of the many Nintendo Switch and PlayStation users as part of the Xbox community in the future. Very interesting. Remember, this is a question about not just game consoles. Similarly, we think it's important to make sure that everyone who continues to play Xbox games, including those who play Game Pass on PC, feels equal in the community. That's an obvious. There's a lot of work to be done for sure. I would actually reverse that, and I would say you need to make sure that Xbox gamers feel equal to Game Pass as PC users, because sometimes they're getting amazing stuff over there that if you're just an Xbox user, you don't necessarily get sometimes. Here's what he says about first-party blockbusters and anticipated titles. They're from Xbox. He says, in terms of the next 2 or 3 years, we plan to release a first-party blockbuster or anticipated title roughly every 3 months. We're very excited about that. Now, that kind of schedule is absolutely huge. Imagine a first-party title dropping on Game Pass every 3 months. That's 4 a year. That's solid. And when you look at the studios now that Xbox owns, you can see how this is all wrapped into their game plan, particularly with Game Pass. The name of the game with a subscription entertainment service is having more options, better options on your service than the other services. Whether that's third party, first party will enable you to continually promote that service no matter where you're playing. Now, what does he mean when he talks about PlayStation and Nintendo Switch users? Let me repeat that. He says we need to think of the many Nintendo Switch and PlayStation users as part of the Xbox community in the future. So I think it's important to keep in mind here who he's talking to and who his audience is. His audience is the Japanese players. So you're not going to say, Nintendo is terrible. We don't need to, come to Xbox. Nintendo, that doesn't work. So I think there is a little bit of acknowledging who he's talking to here. And then also I think, remember, this question is in the realm or is in response to Xbox's future, not just on game consoles. So you do need to think about Nintendo users and PlayStation users. Where are Nintendo users playing their games? Are they just playing them on Nintendo? Where are PlayStation users in Japan particularly playing the games? Are they just playing them those? Or are they playing them on mobile devices as well? And if they are, what do you need to do to get them onto Game Pass? What types of games would they like on Game Pass? Now, does it mean that Game Pass, because I think the knee-jerk reaction here is people to say, oh, this means that Game Pass is coming to Nintendo and PlayStation. And I don't think that is. Maybe long-term something like that happens. I don't know. But I don't think so. I think that's highly unlikely. I think more of what is being discussed here is where can we reach Nintendo users? Nintendo users are Xbox users. How? Where else are they consuming their media? Where else are they consuming games? What type of games are they consuming? Is that in the mobile space? How do we get them? How do we get them on to Game Pass? Right now, Game Pass is primarily aimed at traditional, AAA type of games. But with the acquisition of King, with Activision and Blizzard, you get some mobile games there. Would Game Pass include mobile? With streaming, with cloud gaming in the future, it most definitely is going to include mobile gaming. And is that what you mean? Every Nintendo gamer is also a mobile gamer. Every PlayStation gamer is also a mobile gamer. So is Phil Spencer's vision of this unified gaming realistic, this universe of unified gaming where he says, we need to start thinking of them as Nintendo and PlayStation users as Xbox users? Is that fantasy? Is that realistic? I think, of course, it's realistic, particularly when you talk mobile. Everybody has one of these. Everybody has one of these in their pocket. If you can get to that, you win. It's game over. And particularly Game Pass. If you look at Apple has a subscription service, Apple Arcade. And that's their goal with that. And he said in the past, they don't view PlayStation as their competition. We do as fans, of course, they view a Google and an Apple and an Amazon. And why? And it's because of cloud gaming. It's because of this. Amazon and Apple have this. They have access to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week inside your pocket, which means more opportunities to game. I think Xbox and Microsoft are acting in ways to reach that goal. They're clearly thinking in ways of this bigger picture. Billion gamers on our system. Not on your console, on Game Pass. And so I think when they mean community, I think they're talking about those billion players, right? They want to be the LinkedIn of gaming, essentially. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. What is LinkedIn? Everybody goes to LinkedIn for a job. Everyone's going to come to Game Pass for gaming, whether you play on, no matter where you play, right? Whether that's ROG Ally, Steam Deck, whether that's on your mobile phone, doesn't matter. So I think community in this context actually means this broader based community of future gamers. Now, if this comes to reality, if Xbox is successful here, how does this impact the future game development? And I think that it kind of takes away exclusivity in this respect. Now, if you're a game developer, you want to be on Game Pass. So what does that mean? It means you need to be on console. It means you need to be on PC. It means you need to be on mobile. 3, do you develop your game in that way? Do you develop for all platforms, hardware platforms, for Steam Deck, for ROG Ally, for the Nintendo Switch, maybe somewhere down the line? You've got to now develop for everywhere. You're not just developed for an Xbox. You're not just developed for PC. You're developing for all of these platforms, or a version for all of these platforms, which I think is really interesting. This could mean bigger budgets. It's going to obviously mean broader audiences. It's going to mean more cross-play. And developers will need to prioritize accessibility, in my mind, over exclusivity. So you're not worried about, hey, we're on the Xbox, we're on the PlayStation. You're saying, hey, we're on Game Pass, which means we're on any device that you want to be on. Cloud. We're on the cloud. And so I think that's going to be the impact on future game development myself. What does it mean for gamers? I think it's a win-win for us if this vision comes to fruition that Phil Spencer is talking about here. I think it means more people to play with. It's like a massive MMO community on Game Pass all the time in any game that you want to jump in. I think it's good. Overall, I just think this was an interesting statement. I think there's some people trying to make more about it than that it is. That means that he wants to get it on PlayStation, Xbox. I'm sure he does. I don't think that that's necessarily what he's talking about here. And then I think there's people poo-pooing this, saying that this means absolutely nothing. And I don't think it means nothing either. I think this illustrates the vision of Xbox and the vision of Microsoft. I think it was interesting. Would love to know what you guys think, though. Am I reading too much into this? Am I not reading enough? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Guys, if you like hanging out talking about Xbox, I love it. I love hanging out with you guys talking about Xbox each and every single day, Monday through Friday, each and every single weekday. If you like that, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We hang out here, like I said, daily. We're going to do more of these, maybe even do some live streaming here in the future. Maybe. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.